Hello, guys, and welcome to the latest Hubcast with me, Ryan Hallett, and I am joined today by Laurent Amzallag. I hope I got that pronunciation
You got
correct.
it perfectly well.
Perfect, brilliant. I always get worried about that. It's such an interesting name, and I, I mean, look, I'm not going to say too much because I want to hear your story from the very start. But this actually started from us meeting, right, in Washington.
That's right. That's right.
That idea, and it's and the conversations have carried on, and we've been dying to get you on here. So, look, for anyone that's hearing this or seeing you for the first time, I would love to hear a bit about you, and I'm sure they would. But you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder of FlexPods, and a TV fitness expert. So, I mean, I want to hear from the start. I want to hear from the very start,
From way back then,
way,
right?
way back. Let's
At
go
the
far back as we
embryo.
can.
Well, I was born in Morocco. So I was born in Casablanca, Morocco. Then my family from Morocco moved to Montreal, Canada. And this is where I grew up before immigrating here in the United States, where I live in the Washington, D.C. area. So when I was 9 years old, Ryan, uh, all of a sudden, I was always this very energetic kid, this kid that was just bounce off the walls. My parents were going crazy with me because they didn't know, where that energy came from. I went from this kid to a hospital bed with a 50-50 chance of survival. The doctors took my parents to the side and they said, just pray for the best because we don't know what's going to happen. So I stayed in the hospital. So, Ryan, again, I go from being this very energetic kid to being stranded in a hospital bed. And I remember laying there with tubes all over my body, what am I doing? That's not me. So, what I did is I told myself, you know what? One morning, I'm just gonna walk from my bed to the bathroom door, which was literally 5 steps away from my bed. I remember putting my legs on the floor. I remember how hard it was to take those first steps, right? Because I haven't moved at that point, I haven't moved in weeks. Uh, I did that for a few days. Then from there, I said, you know what? I'm going to walk from my bed to the corridor, the hallway in the hospital. And I did that after that. I did that for a few days. Then I went from the corridor all the way to the TV room, from the TV room to the cafeteria, from the cafeteria, I went out the hospital, the front doors. So, I knew that, I was a young kid, but I knew then
Yeah,
that movement is what helped me. Movement is what, first of all, physically got me to do things, mentally, got me in the right frame of mind, and that's what got me going, and that's what got me out of the hospital. So
yeah,
from that moment on, I knew that I had to do something with movement. I had to share this kind of passion and and this magic, which was moving your body with everybody else. I didn't know it then. That's what I was going to do for my career. But
yeah,
I think that seed was already planted in me of what I wanted to do with my life, which was inspire and motivate people
yeah,
to kind of just move their bodies, right? So
yeah.
I went through college. I studied everything from mathematics to business to health. I did all the biology, microbiology, all that kind of stuff because I was you know passionate about the human body and I wanted to understand it
Yeah.
from the inside out. So I studied all that, and then I started as a personal trainer when I first came to the United States. And I started, personal trainer, small gym, grew my practice. Then I did everything. I did also I taught classes, and at that point I start moving to the bigger clubs, the high end clubs. And this is when my career starts picking up. And that's one of the things that I tell, especially the young people coming into the field, try to work at the best club in your city because that's where you're going to meet the right people. This is when you're going to make the best connections. And I'll tell you as I talk how I got to meet Oprah and how all that stuff kind of went into place from working from that facility. But I start again. I start working as a personal trainer, start teaching classes. Then right, when you're passionate about something, you want to do everything
Yeah.
in that field, right? I was passionate about fitness. I was passionate about it. And then and we're talking about 20 some years ago. Yeah, fitness was there, but it wasn't as it is today with all the influencers, with all that stuff that you see on Instagram. We didn't have that before. 20 years ago, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook. So again, it was the infancy. So I was passionate about it. So I wanted to do everything that I could do, in fitness. And when you pour your heart into it, like all those opportunities start showing up. So I was
Mm.
hired, to be part of the President Council of Physical Fitness during the Bush administration, which opened up some new doors. Again, I started doing some talks in different companies. They hired me to come and motivate their employees. I moved up, in those clubs. Like I said, I moved up to the best club. This is where I start meeting all the people that helped me throughout my career. But also, Oprah just happened to be in town. She was staying at the Ritz-Carlton, which, the club that I was working in was inside the Ritz-Carlton. And she was just asking, I need a trainer, I need a fitness guy. Who would you recommend? And my name kept coming up. So, again, she was staying at this facility. It wouldn't happen in a smaller facility. That's why I say, always try to find the best facility and aim to work in that facility, because that's going to open up a lot of doors. So she hired me to do an event for her in DC. Then I went on the road with her. I did a bunch of different events. Then that opened up other doors. Then I did the Dr. Oz show. Then I started doing more radio, more TV, and that's how the whole
Yeah.
kind of machine started, right? But again, I had a passion, and I found out what I was good at, and what I was good at is just to kind of motivate people, like show them that, hey, it's fun. It's not a chore to be healthy, to take care of your body, to take care of your health. It should be a priority, but it could be also fun. So I kind of use that angle throughout my career, and I even studied stand-up comedy. I studied improv. I did theater, just so I could be a better kind of
I love that.
promoter of health in a more entertaining way, right?
Yeah.
So and I fell in love with the stand-up comedy. That's something I keep doing. I swear, I'm crazy, I keep doing it. As a matter of fact, I have a show tonight, but
Oh, I love that.
that's just a byproduct of just me trying to learn everything I can to be better at what I do, which is to
Mm.
communicate, right? And that's why I do a lot of TV now. I'm a the fitness correspondent in different channels here in the DC market, but I also do national stuff, and I just love it, because I know that that's what I was meant to do since the beginning, right? And then pandemic struck,
Yeah.
so all that obviously kind of stopped, and I'm like, okay, so what do I do? Like the first moment when it first started happening, we were seeing things, like, what the hell's going on over here? So I had to think quick. So I shifted, obviously, like a bunch of fitness trainers to virtual, right? But the gym where I was working from closed, and all the facilities closed, and I was just lucky that at that moment I have helped a doctor open up his medical practice, but he wanted also a fitness facility inside his practice, right? So he hired me to design his practice and buy all the different equipment. And so I had this facility, he was a doctor, so they were deemed kind of necessary
Yeah.
kind of people, so they didn't close. So I had a place where I could kind of stream my all my sessions from. So I was lucky. But the whole time, this whole idea for FlexPods was percolating in my mind. I'm like, look at this. Here I am, I'm going from place to place. I don't really have a home, you know, and I was thinking, I mean, God, as a personal trainer, and I'm talking just personal trainers, but FlexPods, we have personal trainers, physical therapists, yoga
Yeah.
Pilates instructors, but I'm talking just as a personal trainer point of view, because that's where I come from. What are the choices that you have when working as a personal trainer? Well, you could work at a gym, but then again, you gotta give your 50% to the house. You could also go to people's houses. Then you
Yeah.
have all that back and forth in the car, the wasted time, the wear and tear on your car, etc. You could do it online, but if you do it online, you got to do it in a professional way, because you don't want to have the fridge in the background. You don't want to have your kids or your dog run around. I mean, you're a brand, so you have to kind of you have to go with that brand.
Yeah.
Or you could open your own studio, which is very expensive, as I know, because I have one. So then I said to myself, what if I open up a facility where trainers, physical therapists that need a space could just come and rent it for the hour, for the day, for whatever they need it for, without having to, to
Yeah.
spend that kind of money designing the place, paying the rent and the electricity, all the fees that goes with it. They could just use it for the time that they needed, because I was in that boat, right? And that's how FlexPods started. And then I'm like, well, you know, uh, fitness professionals, they're good at what they do, which is inspire people, motivate people, show them how to stay healthy, the right exercises or the right techniques, right? But a
Yeah.
lot of them, I don't want to say a lot of them, but some of them might need also the business part of it. How do you monetize on your gift? How do like I said, you're a brand. How do you monetize on that brand? There are so many different things that you could do besides selling your hours, right? I mean, you have 24 hours a day. What are you going to
Mm.
do? Like, you're going to sell 24-hour sessions? That's not sustainable, right? So what I did, part of FlexPods, is to kind of assist those fitness professionals into becoming entrepreneurs, right? So, and I do that, like, I don't charge them or anything like that. I do that because people help me where I am, and I just want to be able to help others in the same
Yeah.
way. So I have some trainers, some physical therapists are like, oh my God, I work at the gym right now. I want to shift. I want to do my own thing. How do I do it? And then I just assist them. We have also those, at FlexPods, those collaborations with other companies. I'll give you an example. I was at a fitness convention a few months ago, actually a month ago in Florida. And it was a great, a conference where I got to test all the newest machines that are coming out in the market. But I met
Mm.
this company, and it's called Blue Shift. And what they do is they're in the wellness, like, in the supplements kind of space, right? And they have those little pods, like they're powders that you just add to your drink. They don't add sugars. The only sweetness that they have is from monk fruit. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful and great product. So now we have an affiliation where you're a trainer, you like the product, you could offer that to your clients. Hey, you make some money out of that, right? So now you could sell products, and you don't have to sell extra hours. You could create a book, I mean, a course, right? There's so many different kind of course platforms that you could use, Udemy, Kajabi, like, Thinkific, like, all those things. And we assist them in creating that with the things that they know the best, that they're good at. Everybody has a certain niche. My niche, what became my niche was corporate stuff. I got to do a lot of corporate stuff, where they would invite me, go in, motivate my clients, show them what they could do at the office and things like that. So,
Mm.
I started working with Northrop Grumman, NASA, TSA, companies like Kaiser Permanente, which are big healthcare companies here in the United States.
Yeah.
So that was my niche. I enjoy that because now I have a bigger platform. When I go in, I'm talking about 100 people. Sharing information to 100 people instead of a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I still have those one-on-one clients that I've had that I really enjoy working with, but now I'm shifting more towards kind of helping and assisting the new kind of crop of wellness professionals through the FlexPods, and two is having a bigger platform, doing more TV and more of those corporate stuff. So I don't know if I answered some of your questions. I'm sorry, like I just kind of went nuts over here.
Oh,
Please go ahead, Ryan. Like,
no,
ask me any questions.
honestly, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I think that it's your journey's been incredible. Like sometimes, like for COVID, for instance, for you, like this idea may have never come about if it never happened, and
That's correct.
what a strange sort of situation to be in. But I think one of the things that stood out to me is that obviously you were a personal trainer for such a long period of time, and then you quickly went into like the motivation side of it. So was it that you were just good at motivating your clients and you thought, "Do you know what, I feel like I can do this with everyone," or was there like a something that just went, "Do you know what, I want to do that. I really want to do that."
Well, it's a mix. I think it's something that I always wanted to do, and second, it's something that I was good at with the one-on-one clients that I had, with the classes that I used to teach. I use a lot of humor in what I do. I use a
Mm.
lot of, like, my personality, my energy, and things like that. I think resonates a lot with people. So I said to myself, hey, that could be that alone could be a moneymaker. That could be just like a branch of what I do that could
Mm.
generate money. If I'm invited to different companies and do that same formula,
Mm.
why wouldn't it work? But in order to do that, I want to be better at what I did. So that's why I studied stand-up comedy. I wanted more confidence,
Yeah.
doing what I did. And stand-up comedy is a science that is so difficult. I mean, when you look at a professional stand-up comedian, and you look at what they do, it seems so easy. But when you're on stage and your goal is to make people laugh, it's the hardest thing
God.
ever. But I said to myself, if I could be good at that, and if I could learn that, it's going to be much easier just to motivate a group without having to make them laugh. But now, if you have that kind of, reflex of making them laugh at the same time, then they're forgetting that they're working out. All they're doing is enjoying themselves. And then they
Mm.
invite you to come back, and then you get more of those, and then it continues. And then I also studied improv. That's another thing that's super tough. To think on your feet, because that's what you do as a speaker, as a motivator. You have to be quick on your feet. So I used all those tools in order to be better at what I did. I wasn't born, like a Tony Robbins, for
Mm.
example. I wasn't born like that. I I I had I had a desire to do that. I was good at it to a certain extent, but I wanted to be better, and that's why I
Yeah.
used all those other tools to help me out be even better. And then you have, the experience and things like that. The first time, if you look at
Yeah.
my first talk versus the talks that I have right now, completely different,
Mm.
completely different. And and one thing led to another. And 2 years ago, I did something that I always wanted to do, was to do a TEDx talk,
Yeah.
which I did, and I'm blessed for that opportunity, and I really really enjoyed myself with that.
I love that. I mean, you are the first fitness professional I've ever known to do stand-up comedy. It's just it's just the
I'll
most
send you
amazing.
I'll send you a link of my last
Oh,
show.
honestly, please do.
Absolutely.
It'll make my day. I mean, so I want to go back into to FlexPods, and like the what's the word for it? The mindset that you're trying to give to people. Like,
Right.
so FlexPods originally started as an idea, and do you know what? I love how honest you are about what you want to do, but also knowing that it could potentially be a money maker as well. And it's a huge importance. It's a business. At the end of the day, it is a business, and
Of
you need
course.
to make money, but you've also got to love what you do. But you said you started off sort of like just giving advice for free and from FlexPods for the people that came in. But
Yeah.
do you think it's mostly about mindset, like that you help people with now? Is that sort of your area of expertise?
Look, I love the field, like I told you, Ryan. I love the field. And again, sometimes when I meet fitness people, like when I say fitness, I want to make sure that I
Yeah,
I englobe all the fitness, like
everyone
everybody in the
for sure.
wellness. I should use wellness, because
Wellness,
that
yeah.
includes physical therapists, massage therapists. We have a bunch of people that use the flex pods right now, and
Mm.
but when I say fitness, that's what I mean. So when I meet sometimes some fitness people, they tell me, God, Laurent, I love what I do, but how could I make more money doing what I'm doing? And how could I monetize in what I'm doing? It's a struggle. It's a tough business when you think
Yeah.
about it. We're up early. I mean, for many, many years, I was up at 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes I
Mm.
would go until 10 o'clock at night, because that's the hours where you see your clients, right? You
Yeah.
have those hours in between, but mostly they're long hours. Trying to figure out how to get more business, and then you're like, God, am I gonna sell just 10 hours every day? How are you gonna do that? You can't go on vacation. You can't rest. You can't be with enjoy family time and things like that. So I said to myself, I'm seeing this more and more and more. Why don't I just kind of share what I've done with them, and they could use my the facility, because in essence, if they come to me, that means they have a desire to be on their own, to create their own business kind of thing, but
Sure.
they don't want to have a studio, because running a studio is a different kind of animal. I never wanted to run a studio. That was not what I wanted to do. People would always ask me, like, many years ago, when are you going to open up a studio? That's not what I want to do. I didn't want to be a slave of a studio, manage trainers, and have
Yeah.
a person in front. And I didn't want to do that. That wasn't what I wanted to do. My passion was to do what I did, which was to teach, to go into a company, to kind of motivate, to go on TV, to motivate also, and to share information. That was what I wanted to do. So the FlexPods came after seeing a lot of that kind of stuff, like, people kind of not struggling, but finding their way in the fitness field. As you know, after COVID, a lot of people left the fitness business.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, even in my circle of trainers, there were trainers that had a big kind of, clientele. COVID hit. Some of them went into real estate and other kind of ventures and dropped, or they kept a few clients here and there. But when you keep a few clients here and there, like your foot is out of the door, it
Yeah.
doesn't become your main business, right? So I said to myself, why not create a space where, made out of different studios, and that's what FlexPod is. It's different studios that are fully equipped, where if you're a trainer, you have clients, you don't want to work in a gym because you don't want to give your 50% to the gym. You want to go on your own. You don't want to go to their house anymore because it's so much wasted time and just going from one house to the other. You want to have your home. You pay the rent, and I when we developed FlexPods, I wanted to create a space where it would be so inexpensive for people to rent space that are like, it's a no-brainer, right? I'd rather do
Yeah.
my whole business over there. And at the same time, I said, you know what? I'm here. Why not just kind of, share if they have questions about what I'm doing, what works for me,
Yeah.
what haven't worked for me. I've been in the business for 25 years, so I've learned. I've tried things that didn't work. I've done things that I failed in, probably more things that I failed than succeeded in. So I have that experience. Why not share with those people that are here using my space? They're already paying me, the space rent. I don't care about sharing my information at all.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. And now we're at the point where other people are like, hey, we would love to open up a FlexPods and do the same thing. So we're gonna start franchising those FlexPods, those
Oh,
FlexPods,
awesome. Oh,
uh,
cool.
and it's just one of those things that just it wasn't, initially that wasn't my point. I wanted to open up a bunch of them here and there, and because obviously FlexPods is geographically specific, where like you would bring your clients where it's closer, right? You're not going to bring
Yeah.
someone in FlexPods that's an hour away. It's close. So I want to open up, which we're doing right now, but some people approach us to also have the desire to franchise and buy into it and run the facility the same way for their clients, and allow other trainers to use it as well for their own business. And
Yeah.
it
You
becomes a
need to get,
community. We build communities that way.
absolutely. You need to get some in the UK.
Yes, Brian, let's do it. I would love to have some flex pods in the UK. I love the UK.
Love that. The something I wanted to ask, you mentioned about people leaving the industry, and you get multiple questions asked to you when people come see or come to FlexPods. Like, what is the common themes that you see? I mean, whether it's people leaving or the advice that you're given, is there like a trend that you see that that people are struggling with, like as a wellness, not just personal trainer or anything, like, as a wellness, what's the biggest struggles?
Well, when I started personal training, I'm talking 20 some years ago, personal training was starting to get really popular, right?
Mm,
So a lot of people started like, going towards personal trainers. It wasn't anymore for the rich and famous. It was now accessible to the mainstream.
yeah,
So I was there. I don't want to say the infancy of it, because it existed in the 80s and things like that. But I was there
yeah,
at the beginning of that big fitness and wellness boom, right? Then what happened is a lot of people came into it. Some with the right intentions and some with not with the right intentions. A lot of it's same thing with real estate. You're gonna see a lot of people come in when the real estate market is hot. They're gonna come in saying, "Hey, I'm gonna make a lot of money," and then as soon as you get the market that tanks, all those people just leave because it wasn't truly based on the love of what it is, right? I
mm,
went in because I loved the art of taking someone at point A and taking them to point B, a much
mm,
healthier person. That's what I enjoyed. That's what I wanted to see, and that's where my heart was. Right? I didn't come and say, "Oh my God, I'm going to make so much money in this, and then I'm going to take that money and just drop this and then do something else." That wasn't what I wanted to do. Right? So I think that there's two things. One, I came in when at the beginning, so I was able to create this community around me of potential clients that I used throughout my career, right?
Mm.
And a lot of clients that I have right now, one-on-one, I still have that I've had for 10, over 10, 15 years, right?
Wow.
Uh, so then a lot of more trainers came in. So obviously it gets diluted, right? Now people have, could pick and choose from a bigger pool of trainers. So it's a lot harder for one trainer to create a sustainable business on just personal training, right?
Sure.
So that's why when things got rough at the pandemic, then they're like, I can't sustain myself with 2 or 3 clients. I got to find something else. And a lot of them weaved off, where people like me, for example, like I thrived during the pandemic, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of
Well,
people kind of left the build the I would say left the building, left the industry, left the industry. I
true.
mean, I guess the building
It's true.
left the industry just because uh, you know it wasn't solid enough even before the pandemic to kind of allow them to and also the pandemic, a lot of people didn't shift to virtual. A lot of them didn't know how to do it. A lot of them were hesitant about it. I mean, I personally think that was a must. I mean, that was the only way to connect with people and to be able to continue business. It's not the same as in person, I admit it, but it was I was able to kind of continue my business, following the guidelines, which is you can be in a place with other people. So
Mm.
so I think that's what it is. So when people come to me and they're like, Laurent, I love the industry. And for those who are in the industry that love truly the industry, they come up to me and they're like, I love the industry, but I want to find other ways to be able to make money,
Yeah.
a great living without having to sell constantly hours to people. Because, I mean, at the end of
Mm.
the day, that's what you're doing, right? When you do personal training, you're selling your hours. You have that many hours in a day. What are you going to do beyond that? so
Mm.
so this is where I come in and help them out with that other part. We even have at FlexPods, I'll give you an idea of how I structured FlexPods. We even have a money manager at FlexPods, and that money manager helps you, the trainer, to tell you what to do with the money that you have, how to invest it, for example. These are things that you don't learn in kinesiology or
Yeah.
other programs that you go to become a fitness or a wellness person. There's the business part that you don't learn, right? What do you
Yeah.
do with that? And I'm not talking like, you need $500,000 to have millions of dollars for that person to help you. Even if you have $1,000, what's the best way to make that $1,000 work for you while you're sleeping? And at the end of the day, that's what we need to know as
Mm.
fitness trainers. We're good at what we do, which is educate, motivate, inspire. But the other part, which is the business part of it, where do you get that, right?
Yeah.
Where do you get that? This is where FlexPots comes in and fills that gap, along with providing space to for wellness people to run their business. So we're part real estate and part also kind of like business managers.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of the things that comes up so frequently. Actually, is that like, sorry, categorize personal trainers once again, but personal trainers and other wellness professionals, they're very very good at what they do. But when they go into their own business and they're not working for a gym, like the business side of it's not you don't learn it. Like it's not something you can quite easily learn. I
Correct.
mean, there are, of course, places out there that can help you and stuff, but it's not your it's not your main focus, is it? Because you just want to get the best that you can be at what you do,
Right.
which is so important, of course. But then you've also got the other half of it, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly right. A lot of them make fantastic careers. I mean, I've met people in the wellness industry that make millions of dollars. Now I mentioned money, like amounts, not because that's the only kind of marker of success, but if we're talking about success, like in a financial way, like there are people that are doing fantastic things. They have a knack. But I could tell you this: they're not doing it just doing what they're doing. They know they have the business kind of experience to take that money. Maybe they invest in something. A lot of wellness people don't have. What do I do with this money? I have $10,000. What do I do? That's the money that's going to help you, do other things. And
mm,
what do you do with that money? This is where we help you and we kind of guide you towards doing other stuff so you could grow your business a lot more smarter than just kind of pounding and doing hours and hours and hours, at the end of the day, you're going to burn out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, so it's a really interesting story that you've got and like how you've got to where you are. I mean, I want to know what. I mean, you've mentioned the franchise, but what's next for you? Like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to keep on growing, or do you just want to do what you're currently doing? Like, how's it look for you?
So, like I said, I have so many different interests, and at the end
Yeah,
of the day, life is not just about waking up, going to work, going, having dinner, going to sleep. I think life should be about enjoying what you do, but also, other things that you may want to do. I don't know, Ryan, what your passions are and what you like to do. But my passions now, besides what I do, and I'm going to keep doing what I do for the rest of my life, grow
yeah,
FlexPods, do more TV stuff, do more like,
yeah.
talks in companies because I just enjoy that. I don't, I don't work. I haven't worked in the last 10 years, Ryan. I'm
I love
telling you,
that.
I haven't worked in the last 10 years. Uh, but I also love stand-up comedy. I love that.
Yeah,
So I do like I do shows, and I have one tonight, like I told you, and I do it like and it's one of those things where it doesn't take a lot of preparation. You kind of write material, then you try it out, and then you do shows and things like that. I enjoy that. What my business is structured in a way now that it allows me to do that. Right. I
mm,
also I'm an artist, so I love I have little parts in movies. So I do that. I'm filming something the 17th to the 24th in Richmond, Virginia, and I've done since the pandemic, I've done maybe 10, 15 different projects, so I enjoy that. That allows me to be able to do those passion things that I have. If you work all the time, if you kind of your mindset is I'm going to try to sell all those working hours, then you're not
mm,
able to do the rest of the things that you may want to do, right? It's great. Like, you enjoy your work, and I enjoy my work like nobody else. But I have other things that I enjoy too. And I have two,
mm.
two little kids as well. So I have time with them and things like that. And
Oh,
the thing is with my girls, I involve them in everything I do. Obviously my days are long, but for example, if I have a show, I'll take them to the show. I want them to see
yeah,
their dad do what he does, right? And I wanted to be comfortable with the fact that, hey, he talks in public. Maybe that's something I could do, right? When I
yeah,
do a movie and it's a local thing, I'll take them to the set. Hey, I could do that, right? So I'm trying to open up. When we opened up FlexPods, they were there from the embryo stage of the designing the place to the construction to when we had events when we would draw and invite potential clients. They were always there because I want them to see how it is to open up a business, run a business. They're young right now; they're 9 and 6, but these are things that they could absorb
yeah,
and see and use later on in their lives. So I'm trying to really kind of get them into that as well by sharing
mm,
with them my experiences, what I do. So at least I do what I love to do, and I have my kids involved at the same time.
yeah. I mean, your passion and energy is unmatched. I mean, there's some people I speak to, and I'm like, there is not enough hours in the day, and that is exactly the case for you. You could just keep on going, and I love that. It's such a nice thing to hear and see people love doing what they're doing, and to say you've never worked a day in the last 10 years is such a nice thing to have, especially for you. Um, but like, thank you so much for joining this
Oh,
podcast.
thank you. It's
Like,
already time already. I feel
I
like I'm
know,
just starting, Ryan.
I know, I know, I know. But like it's so nice, and I can assure you that this is not the last time people have heard from you from through my PT Hub. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, there's just one thing that I want you to promise me, and that is that you send me your stand-ups at some point as soon as you
As
can,
soon as I
because
hang up, I promise you I will send you my last link that I did last month, or it was end of May, a show that I did, and I'll send you the link.
I would love that. And
Absolutely.
like, if anyone wanted to contact you, or like, what's the best place? Like, you're such a great person to speak to.
Yeah, we
I'd
have
hate for anyone to be deprived with that.
we have our website. First of all, our website. I invite all your listeners to check out our website, which is flexpodstudios.com. Flexpod singular studios in one word .com. And If your listeners want to email me, directly, I'll give you my email address, which is Laurent, my first name, Laurent, at Yala Fitness, YALA Fitness in one word.com. And I would love to talk to anyone that is willing to listen to this crazy French Moroccan guy. I'm I'm open to anything. Your family is my family, Ryan. So
Yeah, oh, you are absolutely brilliant. I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, look, thank you so much for joining me. And like, as I say, this is never going to be the last time that people hear from you through my PT Hub. So, Laurent, just thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
thank you,
It's
Ryan.
been
I'm
a
blessed.
pleasure.
I'm blessed to be on your show, and thank you so much. And thank you to the whole PT Hub community. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.